will form your journey. Well, let's get to grips with this with the global giant Carlson Wagonlit Travel, a leader in the space. The Chief Technology Officer there, Andrew Jordan, is in Sydney, across from the UK. He's joining us now for more. Welcome into the show. Let's just get to grips with that phenomenal number of travel apps. Are they distinguishable by clear, differing options available to the buyer, or are they pretty much doing the same thing?
Well, it's an interesting question. We've got almost saturation point now in the app ecosystem. That's true in travel as much as anywhere else. So any ability to differentiate really gets harder and harder. And I think in the corporate space, any seasoned traveller is going with maybe 10, 12 apps that are doing individual things for different purposes. So it's not a very efficient way of doing it, but I think that's where the likes of Carlson Wagonlit have got to really step up and prove that there is differentiating value in the app ecosystem still.
So when it all comes down to it, what is the appealing rationale for having that on the phone, going to it, using it more than once? What tends to be the recurring kind of, we appreciate this, and this factor?
Yeah, so I think the answer to that is it actually originates from outside the corporate travel space. If you think about the past sort of 5 or 10 years, we've largely been conditioned to behave in a certain way as it relates to our mobile phones and our smartphones, and the expectation of what an app does for us and the information that it contains has reached a level where our tolerance is probably at the lowest it's ever been. We're very quick to just discard apps, the first time we use them if they're not absolutely perfect for what we need. So I think the answer to the question really comes down to one of relevancy, accuracy, things that give me information that's relevant to me, not just a sort of generic span of information that anyone could get.
And is it one of credibility as well? And by that I mean the airlines themselves are ultimately, they're the bastions of best in breed, because we do trust the pilot, we trust all of that whole process. So it all comes back to, well, if that airline can convince us on that level, they can surely persuade us that their time frame and their app is the one to basically default to.
Well, to a certain extent, but not forgetting that the airline is only one component of an overall journey. So whilst we might trust the information that's come from what's actually a very few baseline core platforms that support the airline industry, you need to look at a larger ecosystem of data to support a traveller through its entire journey. But you're right about trustworthiness. There's no point in having data, however relevant to you, if you don't trust and rely it, and it proves itself to be accurate.
Andrew, we talk about disruption in the industry. CWT launching a virtual travel manager, essentially. So what are you saying this offers that you can't get anywhere else?
So I'd say, if you use the word bot or the phrase artificial intelligence in this industry at the moment, you can't really open the press today without reading something about that. We're not kind of doing it just to get in on the game. We're doing it because we believe that artificial intelligence and it manifesting itself in the concept of a bot, and that's an automated kind of handle of response, is really where the expectation of the traveller is going to lie, and it's where the industry is really heading towards. And look, I mean, bots are not there to replace humans. Bots are there for quite straightforward queries as they are today. So things like, if I book this certain hotel, is it going to stay within my company policy? The nearest 10 hotels to my office, queries which traditionally would have been handled by an agent. But if you think that an agent's time is best spent fielding questions that are quite complex in nature, about complex itineraries, that sort of thing, if you can create bots in a messaging app or in some form of very easy to use platform to engage with, it does simplify the process considerably. And it's also where the kind of the up and coming generation, the millennials, if you like, are really seeing that that's the expectation that they're going to get, is that there is some response handler already there for them. So our entry into it is really to how the market is responding, see what sort of queries we can build in, how we can start to leverage artificial intelligence in a more effective way, and really ultimately provide a much better experience for our travellers and our customers.
Really want to thank you for that. We could have gone into other realms, but I think frankly that is enough depth and detail for today to leave people with. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Andrew Jordan, the Chief Technology Officer there, Carlson Wagonlit Travel. Well, it seems all those credit card reward programs we've signed up to are sitting in our pockets, getting decidedly rusty. Recent research by Amex finding more than a quarter of credit card holders have not claimed a reward inside the last 2 years, mostly because they don't know what they can be used for. Well, Steve Hui is Points Whisperer and CEO of iFlyFlat. He's with me now to explain us how to get the most out of those rewards. Warm welcome to you. Is it in their interest for you to be, basically ignorance is bliss? Because ultimately it's going to come at a cost to them.
Well, that's true. They make the programs just a little bit complex, but they do want you to redeem the rewards. So therefore you spend more money on the cards.
Well, talk me through what is perhaps the most overlooked, but in essence easily obtained set of rewards that people are just letting go by the by.
Yes,
What's
so
out there?
you can buy anything. Anything you can pay on a credit card, you can earn reward points. I think most people tend to keep using their credit cards for big items, whereas the coffees or the small purchases, they all add up as well. And that does easily